What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live. Listen, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Jay Lonzo, sad Yankees fan today. Listen, it's opening day. Hopes were high in the pregame. Hopes are a little bit different now, but we're not going to overreact too much. Shout out to everybody currently in the chat. Let's do attendance roll call as usual. Shout out to Mookie the Goat, Erica Garcia, Brog, Lori, Dirtbike Nation, Victor. Shout out to everybody currently in the chat. Hope everyone's having an awesome day besides the Yankees lost today. Jalen, quick thoughts.
I was trying to, as you know from the chat, I was trying to stay positive all day. I don't really ever look too deep into like how the Yankees start off. Obviously, opening day, you want to get off to a really nice start. Garrett Cole looked good. I love that Gary looked confident, not only at the plate, but behind the plate. Those are positives. But it just never really clicked for the Yankees as far as coming through with runners in scoring position. And I think there's two reasons why this is very concerning and frustrating for Yankees fans. And I think the first is that this has been our problem forever, as long as we can remember with this team, this unit, or this core. So that's probably why it's a little bit more frustrating. And then also it's opening day. You haven't seen this team play since October. We're really excited about fans being back. Like, it's April. Like, all these things are really exciting, and for them to kind of just wet the bed and only runs come across because of Gary's home run, it's a little bit frustrating. I was still hoping that something positive would happen up until the literal last out, but that extra innings was super demoralizing. Like, every part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, summarizing the game as a whole, like you said, I mean, Cole pitched, he pitched well. I mean, he gave the Yankees 5 1/3, 8 Ks, 2 earned runs. I mean, that's like you would kind of expect him to go longer, which he will later on in the season. But I think it was a decent start for Cole. You can't put the loss on him. But the offense, like we said, it was just absolutely brutal. I mean, the Yankees only had 6 hits the whole day. They would have no runs on the board if it wasn't for Gary Sanchez. Shout out to Gary Sanchez. Coming up hitting the 2-run bomb, because without that, the Yankees wouldn't even make it to extra innings just because the offense was that bad.
And most of our hits were bloopers, infield hits. Like,
yeah,
I can't really recall. I think Gary hit a ball hard, Judge hit a ball hard in the middle.
Yeah.
And I can't really recall any other hard hit balls.
No, and it wasn't like the Yankees were going up against like Cy Young. They were going against Ryu, who's a solid pitcher, but like they've gotten to him before.
Didn't he win a Cy Young?
No, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure
I think he was like in competition. I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Ryu, Cy Young.
He was at least a finalist. But I was gonna say that's why part of the reason I was a little bit more.
Yeah, he finished second to DeGrom in 2019.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was a little bit more optimistic about it just because he is a really good pitcher. Like, we've had his number in the past, but he was pitching really well. So when the Yankees got into the bullpen, that's when I started saying, okay, now we can really get to work. And it was just the same thing. That's kind of why it was a little bit more frustrating.
No, bro, it's like they kept throwing out like reliever after reliever. I'm like, all right, like this is the guy that the Yankees like capitalize on. And they just kept running guys out there who like we would assume the Yankees would be able to just conquer, right? And they couldn't.
David Phelps.
We had David Phelps on the ropes and just couldn't capitalize. But DJ went 0 for 4 today. Now, honestly, we could go through the box score unlike the spring games where it didn't matter. But now, like, these stats actually matter. DJ went 0 for 4 today. Kind of disappointing. Semien did steal an RBI single from him. But Judge, I would say he had a pretty disappointing day too. 1 for 5. His at-bat in the 9th was awful, bro. I mean, like...
No, yeah, he had 2 opportunities to put us ahead. He had one... I think both of them were with the bases loaded, and one of them he grounded into a double play.
Yeah.
Early in that bat, and then the other one he struck out on a. I mean, it was a good pitch from, I think it was Romano. I think the guy's name was. It was like 96, 97, but it was right down the middle, and yeah, I want to see our guy come through in those situations,
Yeah, I mean, speaking of a couple other guys who didn't do too well today, Aaron Hicks 0 for 4. Stanton 0 for 5. And it's actually kind of funny because in the pregame with Sean, we were kind of talking about like what to expect from today. And I'm so stupid. I said there's is there any chance Stanton goes 0 for 4 today, right? Obviously, no, he went 0 for 5. Just because, like, going based off of, like, his spring, we thought, like, Stanton was going to come into the season, like, hit, like, 2 home runs off rip. Just because, like,
Yeah.
A, he was the Yankees' top performing hitter in spring. B, even his outs were hard hit. So, like, we were just expecting him to light on fire. Obviously, he didn't do that. Glaber was 1 for 4 as well, and his hit was a blooper. I mean, Glaber's hit couldn't have been more perfectly placed.
Yeah, I don't hate Glaber. Glaber had some pretty good at bats today. Um, that's the thing. Like baseball is one of those games where you can look super ready to go in spring training, and then the calendar flips. It's April 1st, and it's opening day, and at bats really matter now. And you go 0 for 5. So I'm not really too. Again, I'm not really super concerned about guys going 0 for 5. I'm more concerned with how they look when runners are in scoring position. And it
Well,
is a
he
long
got that
season, so
opportunity today.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's a long season, so hopefully they can make some adjustments. But like nobody in our lineup, aside from Gary, which is crazy to think about, really put together more than one good at bat. And our
I would say
best hitters
Clint.
didn't even. Yeah, okay. Clint had some. Yeah, Clint had
Yeah.
some good at bats too. Um,
Clint and Gary were the only guys with multiple hits today.
and I don't even the multiple hits thing. Clint could have went 0 for 5, and you could
Sure.
still say he had good at bats. But DJ looked like a shell of himself up there. Judge had, that one nice solid hit, but the rest of his at bats, he just kind of looked overmatched. Hicks looked ridiculous out there, and we talked about how we expect big things from Hicks this year, and that obviously can still all happen. But he looked lost. Gio looked
No,
like he was swinging. He was up there swinging with the drumstick, like it
Bruce
was.
looked lost as well.
Yeah, they just all looked overmatched. I don't know if it was maybe some opening day jitters, and they'll get it. It's going to be a nice day on Saturday. Maybe they'll hit better. We'll see. I still have hope.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the key with the Yankees was today. Listen, I'm going to try my best not to overreact, right? Because, I mean, it is opening day. We have 161 games left. But what I do think that today was kind of a reminder of was the whole offseason we were looking at the lineup with like rose-colored glasses, right? Saying like, oh, like the potential of this lineup, like they might break the home run record, like whatever. But I think what we always tend to forget, we always block it out of our memory, is that this team is very poor when it comes to situational hitting. And I think today was just kind of like a perfect example of that. Yes, maybe they can put up like 20 runs in a game against the Orioles in the middle of June. But like when it comes down to it in the big situations, like opening day, if you want to consider that a huge situation because the bright lights are on you, they just can't seem to produce. I mean, they say like, I forgot who said this, but I heard somebody say this today. Opening day is fun because it's like a branch off of the postseason, right? It's the only game in the regular season that kind of feels like the playoffs, just because like you're anticipating it for so long and like there's so much hype going into it.
Yeah,
So today it was like they had so many opportunities as far as like situational hitting. They just couldn't produce, bro. What were they like 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position?
something like that. And
Something stupid.
I think it was like 0 for 9, over 10, including
But where does this
extra
come
innings.
from? Because it's not like
Well,
the talent isn't there.
no, I don't think it's not about talent. I just think that those are the kind of hitters we have. Our hitters are not guys who put the ball in play in big situations. We have a lot of all or nothing guys, and even a guy who like Judge, we talked about on last night on the stream. He's not a home run or strikeout guy. We would like to think. We do think he could hit for like a decent average, like 280, 290 range. But I just in big moments sometimes it seems like he tries to do way too much,
Sure.
and that's what you saw all that whole extra inning was just guys almost looking scared to be up in a big situation, not taking the bat off their shoulders, staying and then swinging at a ridiculous pitch outside of the zone. And I tend to give guys a little bit of leeway with that because of how disgusting some of these pitchers are. But it's just like you have a ball thrown right in your happy zone, and you take that. You put yourself in a situation to get set up by these disgusting pitches. So
No,
you
yeah.
kind of the blame is equal parts sent out. So I don't. It's obviously not a lack of talent. Like you said, we could put up 20 runs in any given day, but that's not what matters when it comes to October. And this is a game like this is like one of those tests to show how you are in big moments. And I
Sure.
think they're not there yet. But I'm not saying they won't get there. I think DJ we'll get going. Like this is one of 162. Like we're a
No,
long
yeah.
ways from the final verdict.
It's just I do understand why fans could become concerned with the inconsistency and the streakiness, just because like this reminded me so much of last year in the ALDS when we were going up against the Rays. But the only excuse they had then was that they were going up against like top level relievers coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah,
Today they weren't really facing like top level relievers, so I think it just goes to show like regardless of who they're facing, the inconsistencies are definitely there. But what I think is also important to note from today is the pitching was solid. Like I know, like
yeah.
we've had some concerns about the bullpen, just because of losing Wilson and Britton, and Chapman isn't available for the first two games either. But Green came in an inning and 2/3 of work, solid. Loizaga looked good. Darren O'Day looked good. Nelson, besides, I mean, giving up the double to Grichuk, which also the runner on second base rule, so
Ridiculous,
stupid. I mean,
ridiculous.
so stupid. But other than that double to Grichuk, which there would be no run scored if the runner on second base rule wasn't a thing. Nelson pitched well as well. I think it's just stupid asking a pitcher to get out of that situation.
It makes
Like it
no
makes
sense.
no sense.
If I'm
Like
a
what do you
manager,
save?
I'm asking my pitcher to not even worry about the like. Obviously, you have to in a certain like in a situation, but I'm not. But if I'm the away team, I mean the home team, I'm asking my guy to just get me 3 outs because we have a chance to come up and win the game in the bottom half. So if you give up one run, I'm not mad at you because it's a ridiculous ask to ask guys to do that.
Yeah.
So I think Nelson did his job. Obviously, you don't want to give up that run, but if you can get out of that situation with only one run and you're the home team, I think you take that 10 out of 10 times.
I mean, also, can we kind of touch on for a minute the decision in the ninth inning to pinch run for Clint Frazier with Brett Gardner? I mean, like,
Yeah.
what's kind of like the purpose there? I mean, there was what first and third, one out, I
Yep.
believe.
Yeah.
Clint Frazier walked, and then Aaron Boone decides to pinch run Brett Gardner for Clint. I don't understand what that does in that situation unless you plan on stealing, which wouldn't have kind of made sense in that situation anyway. Maybe if you want to break up the double play, I have no idea, but you knew Gardner wasn't going to be stealing there.
There was no logical explanation to pinch running Guardy, and the reason being is that first of all, his run means absolutely nothing. So if if you're trying like if it was just man on first and one out, then sure, you want to do
No,
that,
yeah.
makes sense. Our winning runs at third base. You have your what you would hope to be your best contact hitter at the plate. Not what you would hope. DJ's your best contact hitter, regardless of how he performed today. You
Yeah.
have him coming to the plate. You have one out. Obviously, you want to stay out of the double play, but you're not going to have already steal because DJ's the guy you want up with a guy on third and less than 2 outs. So you're going to take your chances that he does the job and puts the ball in the air and extend or wins the game there. You don't ever steal with your best hitter up at the plate with the guy on third and less than 2 outs. And if you were to steal, then they're just going to walk DJ, and then you set up Judge for another situation that he did not perform in twice today. So
Yeah. I mean, like,
Judge is way more likely to hit into a double play in that situation than DJ is.
it was also really weird because by doing that, Boone knew that he was going to be put. I mean, assuming that he knew the game was going to be going into the 10th, he knew that Tyler Wade was going to be coming in second and DJ was going to be shifting over to first. So then, like, that leaves you with not one person on the bench in the 10th inning. Like,
No
that's
sense.
a little bit crazy.
No,
I
and I
mean,
think
by the
Boone
10th
made
inning,
some,
they had not one man on the bench.
not even a catcher, and I think
No.
Boone made some good decisions prior to that
Yes.
little
I'd agree.
whatever.
Like, pulling Cole was done
Pulling
at the
Cole
right
was
time.
was was good. I liked the
I like the
pinch
order
run
he went
for
in as far as relievers. I thought that was good.
he managed the bullpen well. I think pinch running Talkman was obviously a smart decision.
Shout
For
out to Mike
Gary,
Talkman, by the way.
love that for that
IQ
guy.
level 1000.
Yeah. But no, I do genuinely think Boone played everything pretty much perfectly today, except for the Guardy decision. But that didn't. That's not what did us in. Like that's not what lost us the game.
Yeah.
Um, but Boone managed pretty well today. I will give him that. Not never gonna expect him to be perfect. So that I mean, I don't know what he was thinking putting Guardy, but again, that's not what lost us the game. So if now like you said, if we would have gotten down to the extra innings and it was bases loaded and 2 outs, and Tyler Wade was up with a chance to win the game, then you
No,
start to think
exactly.
about it a little bit more. But
Exactly.
I blame this is all in the offense today.
No, 100%. And that's why like I kind of like made sure like to hype up our pitching today because the pitching was amazing. And it's
Yeah,
weird because usually it's the other way around. Usually our offense scores like 7 runs, but the pitching gives up 8 or 9. And then we end up losing that way. But today was just so frustrating in the sense of like we said before we started going live and we were talking about the game, we were like, I would have preferred a blowout game today.
yeah,
Just because to have so many missed opportunities makes the game hurt so much more. Like,
yeah,
especially on opening day, like, like there was 10,000 fans in attendance. It looked awesome seeing fans back there. Like, that they were hyped for a game. They were riling up the players. But speaking of fans, did you see that one guy who like went to go reach for the ball in Aaron Judge's glove? Like, what are you
yeah.
doing, bro?
And then Judge had a couple weird like run-ins, and during that's I think
No,
it
I
was the same
know.
inning. He like had that guy who he tried to throw him the ball, he dropped it, and Judge was like pissed off. He was like, "Dude, come on."
No,
And then
yeah.
and guy tried to rip the ball out of his hands. Like I don't know what the fans are just like haven't been here in a long time and
They're like
don't know how to
animals.
act. Yeah,
They're
that
tweaking,
was
bro.
that was
But
ridiculous.
but kind of like what I think is weird about that whole thing, they have plexiglass
Yeah,
between like the dugout and like the crowd there. I know they can't really do that with like foul territory because like the players will like run into it, but like at least not sell tickets for the first row or something. Like, you know what I mean? Because if
yeah.
you're having all that separation between the dugout and the crowd where there's already a net, you know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
like you got to have some sort of separation there. I mean, because clearly like this is something that's going to be an issue this season.
Yeah, I don't really understand a lot of the protocols. We don't have to get too deep into it, but I just feel like a lot of it doesn't make a ton of sense. Um, but like even on smaller scales, like here at my school, like the baseball stadium, like they block off certain seats, but like some seats are right next to each other
Yeah.
or like right in front of another row. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think anyone really understands how to deal with this whole thing. And if you require a negative test or proof of like vaccination, I don't understand why you have to do all these weird things. I don't know. It's a whole thing for not people who are smarter than me to figure out, I guess.
No, I know. And like you could tell like fans didn't really understand like the whole concept of things either. Like every time like they panned to like fans, at least like 7 out of 10 like just didn't have a mask on. And
Yeah.
there's like there's also like no way the stadium can enforce that. You know what I
No, of
mean? Like
course.
but
No, it's tough. It's tough to enforce
to
something like
kind of
that.
like round up how today's game went, I understand there's going to be a lot of people overreacting about today's game. And I could kind of understand where they're coming from just based on how we ended last season. But what I do think it's important to remember is the Yankees are still going to be a very good team this year. A
Yeah.
very good team this year. They're still going to win the American League East. I think they're going to win the AL East by far, actually. It was good to see Gary's resurgence today a little bit. But I do understand like why they're upset about the situational hitting. Like it's okay. Um, I think fans what they're kind of tired of is the Yankees being so good in the regular season and then kind of just like foiling under the pressure. And today was kind of an example of that, but it's all right. They come back on Saturday, which I think is going to be a huge game because Corey Kluber's on the mound. I think that Saturday might be more of an important game than today was, if
Yeah,
we're being honest with each other.
I was just gonna say, I think again, this, and we're gonna continue to say this probably until like mid-May. It's early, so take
Yeah,
everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. Don't rush to judgment, because as you can remember from last year, this team can be very streaky. So we could start the season 0-5 and then turn around and win 15 games in a row. So I'm not really too concerned with how things go early on. But you also have to remember that this is basically the same lineup as last year, except for Clint starting. That's pretty much, and obviously Void is out for a little bit, but essentially it's the same offense as last year. So I wouldn't expect a ton of differences in how they perform offensively. Hopefully they make some adjustments, but like you said, this game might be a way more of an indication of how things are going to go for the Yankees for the rest of the season, just because we get to finally see Kluber, um, you know, his first Yankee start that actually matters in the regular season, at home. Like I really want to see how he performs. Um,
yeah.
and I again,
It's gonna be huge.
either way it goes, I'm not gonna say, oh, Kluber had 6 shutout innings, he's going to be the best pitcher in baseball, or he gave up 4 runs and I think he sucks. Like trade him. I'm not going to judge either way, but it will be very interesting to watch and hopefully a better indication of what this team will be over today. Because we knew Cole was going to dominate. So
Yeah.
hopefully the offense can click as well.
Yeah, I mean that you kind of described it perfectly. But with that being said, I think that is going to wrap things up for the post game today. Listen, chat. I think what we're going to plan on doing for the day games is doing like the pre games as usual, like 12 o'clock. And then hopping on here like directly after the game for like a 20 to 25 minute post game. And then depending on that, we'll see whether or not we're going to be going live at 9 p.m. that night. So maybe we'll be back again at 9 p.m. Eastern time for another Unhinged Live where we just, I don't know, recap the game again. I have no idea, but maybe we'll see. Hope everyone has an awesome day. Even if we don't come back later on tonight, we will have a video come out on the channel tomorrow at 12 p.m. Obviously, there's no game tomorrow, so no pregame, postgame. So we will be around for Unhinged Live tomorrow night, 9 p.m. It's actually going to be a fun Unhinged Live tomorrow night at 9. Kyle Condor of John Boy Media and Dan Rourke are going to be joining me, so it's going to be fun. Hope everyone has an awesome day. If I don't see you guys later, I'll see you tomorrow. Don't be too discouraged about the game, everyone. Don't be too discouraged.
Guys, the Blue Jays, let's get this straight. The Blue Jays are a good team. However, they did not outplay the Yankees today by any stretch. The Yankees lost today because they didn't play well. So don't overthink, oh, the Blue Jays are gonna beat us for the AL East crown. Like, no. The Yankees need to get their stuff figured out and they'll be fine.
Sure. Yeah. Hope everyone has an awesome day. You guys know the usual. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you do know if we go live later. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Peace.